You are not stuck. You are playing small. It's easier for you to grab an excuse from your list of excuses. It's easier for you to pretend that you're stuck than it is for you to go out and do the thing. Every single question is a potential way to completely evolve. It could change your trajectory of your life if you let it. The only two things standing in between where you are right now and where you want to be is time, which you have no control over anyway, and the Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Her Power podcast. Hope you guys are doing so well. And if you're listening or watching in real time, happy Monday. It's so good to see you. I am very excited for today's episode because I really feel like we are taking things back to our roots. Last month, by the way, guys, the In Her Power podcast turned 2. And if you have been following us and listening to us for a while, or since our inception into the podcasting world, you guys will know that we kind of started out as a little bit of like a tough, loving podcast. That is who I am to my core. I am someone that loves to receive, but also give messages in a way that is not abrupt, but quite upfront. I don't love to sugarcoat things. I love to ensure that my messaging is heard, it is received, and it is understood. And I always make sure that the way that I articulate my messaging, the way that I communicate that in everyday life, in my content, in my socials, in my podcasts, reflects exactly that. So I just want to give you guys not a warning, let's be real, we're not that harsh, but today's episode will be a little bit of a tough loving episode, taking things back to our roots. And 90% of you love these episodes because they do give you a little loving kick up the bum when you most need it. And I love that today's episode has come at Q2, the beginning of Q2. If you are listening in real time, we are halfway through April pretty much, which means we are in Q2 of 2025. And what I like to do at the end of every quarter or at the beginning of every quarter, I do a very in-depth life audit. Now, this is something I want to talk about in the second half of today's episode because I wholeheartedly believe that the most successful people on this planet are the people that are constantly auditing why they're doing what they're doing, whether what they're doing is working, whether it's not, how can we alter or fix that? And they are constantly a work in progress. That is my opinion. I have personal, professional evidence to support that. And also as a bystander of the very successful humans that I have in my network, I can see the things that they do and do not do to get them to where they are today. And one of them is constantly auditing, shifting, shaping the human that they are in accordance to where they want to be. So I want to start off today's episode though with reminding you that a lot of the time, 9 times out of 10, you are not stuck. You are playing small. And this is a reminder I've had to shove in my face over the past couple of weeks, particularly the week just been. I have been in the strangest mood. Now, giving myself grace here, I have just come out of the most gruesome period week. I have been incredibly anxious all week for no reason, incredibly sad for absolutely no reason. Now, this is such a weird feeling for me because I'm not a very sad human. I'm very positive 90% of the time. I'm a very bubbly, vivacious, outgoing human. So when I can identify that I'm in my shell, it's strange for me. So a lot of hormonal emotions have come up this week. Emotions have come up as a byproduct of hormones, I should say. And I can identify that. But on top of that, I have been procrastinating. And because I've been procrastinating, what I want, what I'm working towards and feeling good about those things has gotten further and further and further away. And because I've stayed stuck, quote unquote, as a byproduct of procrastination and not doing the things I said I was going to do, I am creating this narrative in my head that, what I'm doing doesn't work. Nothing's working. I'm behind. I'm stuck. Everything feels off. This is a bad week in business. This is a bad week on social media. I didn't even show up on my socials. I'm inconsistent in my health and fitness. I'm inconsistent with my social media. Blah, 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 blah. Cry me a river, sis. Upon reflection, every single one of my problems, which I'm claiming to be, quote unquote, me being stuck, is because I'm not taking the action. Now, again, giving myself grace this week. There are going to be weeks, days, months even in your life where this is where you're going to be constantly. You will physically not have the willpower, the discipline, the motivation, the health sometimes. In my case this week, I was not well. Cramps, fighting flu, really out of whack hormones this week as a byproduct of my period, right? And that's okay. But if you can identify that it's just a normal week for you. You haven't got your period. There's nothing going on in, your relationships. There's nothing sad, or you're not in any conflict. There's no reason for you to be procrastinating. And you're just procrastinating because you're maybe a little bit lazy at the moment. You're a little bit overwhelmed. You're a little bit uncomfortable. You're lacking discipline. You're not feeling motivated at the time. This is your reminder that you are actually not stuck. You are just simply not doing what is required from you. So again, this week was awful. I was procrastinating. I was finding every excuse under the sun to not do the things I said I needed to do. So they got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back until come end of week, nothing was done. Nothing was recorded. No content was shot. No meetings. I had meetings that I canceled. I had things that I pushed back, and I got to the end of the week and I'm like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And upon reflection, it was because of exactly that. I was procrastinating it. I was pushing things back. If you're listening to this story and you're thinking, oh my God, I do that often, and it's not because I have my period, and it's not because, I'm sick or things are going on in my personal life, because if it is, this doesn't actually apply to you, okay? Again, if you are going through a season where you are naturally, and you have to be in your hermit phase, you have to push things back, you have to procrastinate things, you have to cancel and shift plans to keep yourself, your sanity, your mental health safe, this doesn't apply to you. But if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I actually do that and there's no reason for me to do that, this is for you. If I didn't have the self-awareness that I do right now, if I hadn't practiced auditing and pulling myself up when I get into these points, this pattern of procrastination, the anxiety, feeling stuck, feeling like nothing's working would just happen week after week after week after week until, I'd probably get to a point where I'm like, business isn't for me, entrepreneurship isn't for me, I'm not meant to be on social media, I'll just go back to the old life that I worked so hard to get out of. This is your wake-up call. You're not stuck. You're playing small. You are not doing what is required from you. What you want is within reach. You're just not taking the aligned action. So let me reiterate on this point. If you have a goal that you're working towards, whether it's a fitness goal, maybe you want to quit your 9-to-5, maybe you want to build a brand on social media, build a business, whatever the hell you have on your heart that you want to do, 9 times out of 10, I can guarantee your first baby step, the first thing that you would need to do to get you just 1% closer to that goal. I'm telling you right now, you deep down know what it is. Think about it. As soon as this episode ends, what would be the first baby step that you would have to take in order to be just one smidgen closer to that goal? You know what that is. I can guarantee you that that baby step or that next move required from you requires something different from what you currently do right now. Maybe it's uncomfy. Maybe it's a little bit daunting. Maybe it requires you to go do something that stretches you. Maybe you're just feeling a little bit lazy at the moment and you CBF. If you are listening to this and you're resonating with what I'm saying, you're actually not stuck. That's fake news. You have subscribed to a limiting belief, a false narrative in here that actually isn't true. Because it's easier for you to pretend that you don't know what to do. It's easier for you to grab an excuse from your list of excuses and plonk them into today, because that is actually more comfortable. It's easier for you to pretend that you're stuck than it is for you to go out and do the thing. It means we get to stay where we are right now. We get to stay and do what we're doing right now, which is comfortable for us. You are not stuck. You are playing small. And I really needed to remind you today that the only thing, like literally the only 2 things standing in between where you are right now and where you want to be is time, which you have no control over anyway, and the work that you're not doing or the action that you're not taking. You have control over one of those 2 things, and the other one you don't, which is time. However, that time is going to pass anyway. So why not make it positive? Why not make the time that's going to pass anyway worthwhile? This is going to be a wake-up call for so many of you, myself included. I have had to pull myself out of the wreckage of the most awful week, probably one of the worst weeks I've had in a very, very long time, all because of my brain. Again, giving myself grace. There will be times in life where these weeks have to happen. I had to keep my health and my mental health safe this week by riding the wave of emotions, mindset until it passed. Okay, so please do not get this confused. It applies to the people that have nothing else going on, who have no other reason not to do the thing, they're just choosing not to. Of course it's uncomfortable. Of course it's often inconvenient. Of course it might be daunting. Of course you might get judged for it. If it was easy, every single other person you know would be living in alignment with the things they wanted to do. Every single person you know would be successful in whatever area it is that they want to be. But they're not. As promised, I have some very powerful audit questions that I would recommend you did every 3 months, not just when you feel stuck, but at the end of every single quarter or at the start of every single quarter to really recalibrate. And this is what it's all about. It is not about starting over or doing this really extravagant, like personal rebrand where we have to become this new person with all these new healthy habits and blah, blah, blah. If that's the road you want to go down, slay. I will always approve you wanting better for yourself. However, this is just a simple recalibration. We are getting ourselves back into the lane that we need to be in. At the moment, I can see myself kind of like on the highway, just like chopping and changing. I'm like, oh, should I go over here? I don't know, over here? I'm not sure. We're going to get back into the lane that gets us straight down the highway to where we want to be. So of course, feel free to pick and choose which ones resonate with you the most. I personally will be answering all of them. They are very powerful questions. In fact, a lot of them I have answered myself personally in the past. My audits, my life audits change. So you guys know, if you've been following me for a while or listened to the podcast for a while, I swear by audits. Again, my entire philosophy is that the most successful people I know do this well, and they do it regularly. Every 3 months though, I will do this. Now the questions often chop and change. There's more that gets added as I progress in life, as I progress in business, as my evolution continues. So I'm really happy and kind of honored to share these new audit questions with you that are very relevant to the level that I'm at right now. First and foremost, what am I most proud of from the last 3 months? I have a shocking memory at the best of times. I often find it hard to remember all my wins from the past 3 months. This is not me saying I have so many that I've forgotten. Just life happens and I'm like, what even happened last month? So I actually go through my camera roll from the past 3 months. I'll be able to see, because I document everything, when the highest of highs were and when the lowest of lows were. There is everything from videos of me, for example, launching the Future You journal. That was such a win, such a successful launch for us. That was a high. That was a big high for us. And then I've got videos of me crying literally last week, kind of like a video journal, if you will, kind of me saying, nothing's working. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You're just not taking the action, babe, and you're playing small. We'll actually get into this in another video, actually a vlog upcoming. I don't know whether I told the podcast, but I'm signing up to a triathlon. There's a whole bunch of personal reasons, like pretty deep personal reasons as to why I'm doing that. And at their core, it's because my beautiful brain is just becoming a little bit complacent. She's becoming a little bit scared of things. I'm putting myself into a box. We'll talk about it later. It's a different conversation for a different day. But if you want to hear more about that, I recommend keeping up to date on my YouTube channel. I'm going to do an entire triathlon, not series. I don't want to say it's a series, but I do want to document my journey because it's going to be a journey that's more than just physical. It's a very mental thing. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. So number one, what am I most proud of from the past 3 months? Next question is, where am I out of alignment? This one is going to be big, and it's going to be big for a lot of you. And there should be no shame when you answer this question. For myself, I know where I'm out of alignment. I will talk about it in my first episode of the triathlon training diaries or series on YouTube, probably on Reels as well. But I know where I'm out of alignment, and that changes everything moving forward. Literally, we'll talk about it later. But your next question here, where am I out of alignment? My next question is also very, very powerful, and it is actually the basis of next week's podcast episode. What am I tolerating that I shouldn't be? Friends, family, self-sabotage, yourself. Like, what are you doing in your day-to-day life or in your daily routine? Or better question is, what are you not doing in your day-to-day life or daily routine that you're just accepting as normal? Huge, huge question. One of my favorite questions, again, because the answer to this question could be the pivotal moment for you. It could be what changes everything for you. And you will know in next week's episode that it has been such a wake-up call for me, this specific question. Next question is, what am I craving more of? Is it aligned friendships? Is it better health? Is it better sleep? More energy, more fulfillment? Again, these questions are so incredibly powerful because whatever answer it is could potentially change the trajectory of your life if you let it sink in as powerfully and as heavily as they have for me. Next question is one of my favorites. Where am I playing small or holding myself back? Self-explanatory. It's been the basis of this episode. Next question is, what habits are supporting my future self and what habits are holding me back? This is a little bit of a habit audit, which you guys know I do religiously. Next question, what does success look and feel like for me in the next 90 days? So the next 90 days will be our next quarter or the next 3 months. So over the next 3 months, what would success look like for you? Again, this should be in alignment with your goals. Next is really heavily tied into what am I tolerating, but what boundaries need to be enforced. This one gives me goosebumps because it's like, again, this could change your trajectory of everything for some of us. Second last question here here is, what would make me feel excited to wake up every morning? Again, this is really going to bring your vision back into focus. And the last question is, this one brings me to tears, but it also gives me goosebumps at the same time. Powerful questions here, guys. I don't know if you're getting goosebumps as I read them, but I am personally. If I keep living exactly as I am now, where will I be in 3 months' time? Like, literal mic drop. Is the way that I'm living and thinking and eating and exercising and what I'm tolerating, the boundaries I'm either setting or not setting, if all of this remains, what will my life look like in 3 months' time? If it's the same and you're not happy with that, it is literally your permission slip to change something. This is subjective to you. This is very personal to you, but please lean into these life audit questions. I'm telling you now, every single question is a potential way to completely evolve, completely level up. It could potentially even, and I'm going to go as far as saying, like, hand on my heart, I truly believe this, it could change the trajectory of your life if you let it. Take what you want, use all of them if you want to. These are all my questions I have personally answered for Q2. So this is just your reminder, once again, for the 800th time this episode, you are not stuck. Of course, things are feeling off and they're feeling icky and they're feeling out of alignment because you are acting out of alignment. You are playing small. If you're like me, you've put yourself in a box, and every single wall of that house or that box is a limiting belief, is a false narrative that you've made up, and you've stuck yourself in the middle of it. You have boxed yourself in and you're not doing what is required of you. And I think it's really, really important, because if you're a go-getter at heart, I'm going to say almost 100% of you guys are. You are working towards something. You want something bigger and better than what you probably have right now. And that's beautiful. I think it's a very powerful place to be. And if you are a go-getter, a lot of the time you probably are working away at something, right? If you're listening to this and you are thinking, I do feel stuck, Beck, but I don't actually resonate with what you said about me playing small and me not taking the aligned action. I am taking the aligned action, and I have been for quite some time. If you can wholeheartedly, like truly hand in your heart, listen to this episode and think to yourself, you know what? I have been living in alignment. I have been doing everything I can at 110 capacity. This is not meaning you're working hard as you possibly can. I don't want to glorify hustle and I don't want to glorify burnout, but if you are doing everything you possibly can to the best of your ability in alignment with where you're going and you still feel quote unquote stuck, I want this to be your sign that you are in that weird limbo period that I've recently started calling the pause before the next chapter. So this is where your reality, it's like this lag where you have to start acting as if it will catch up and it's on its way. This is your sign. If you can resonate that you have been doing everything you possibly can, what you want is on its way. There is simply no way that it won't. There is simply no way it will not work out for you if what you're doing is 110% in alignment day in, day out. This video or this podcast episode has landed in your lap for that reason. However, if you're like me and you can wholeheartedly say to yourself, you know what? No, I have been playing a little bit small. I'm actually probably not stuck. I just haven't been doing what's required of me. This was also meant to be in your ears today or on your screen today. You didn't click onto this by accident. I hope today's tough, loving, insightful podcast episode was everything you needed and more. I'm feeling very motivated now. I'm not going to lie to you. I seem to do this. I seem to really be in the depths of something, and then I give myself the pep talk I needed, and then I'm like, yeah, actually, I'm actually a boss bitch and I can do literally anything. And so can you. And so I hope today's episode has given you the motivation and the insight, the empowerment to do exactly that, to go after whatever it is that you want. I'm so proud of you. And as always, thank you so much. I love you so much. I will see you in our next episode.